Hi everyone, it's me, David, and my dog here. Who's her name is Denver, and she's just resting. So I got some new equipment, and I wanted to try it out and share my testimony at the same time um, about how Jesus brought me out of the mess that I was in. Uh, Trying to get up here, and I did everything wrong. Everything that you could possibly think, I did it wrong. Um, so I live in Dewey, Arizona, right? And but it started out as I got up here, and I was in Chino Valley for 4 months, and well, first of all, I how I got up here was really unusual. I got scammed, right, and out of a lot of money, which I thought it was over. I was never gonna get up here to the higher parts of Arizona, and so but I decided. So then I got scammed a second time, thinking this was different. It's never any different. It's never different. Um, so I moved up here thinking I was going to meet somebody. That didn't happen. And so from that point out, I was on limbo, not knowing where I was going to be, where I was going to go. So a friend of mine helped me out by living with him virtually for free. I did his dishes and everything, and did his lawn and things like that. So after about 4 months, I had to. He gently kicked me out of his house, and it was hard. Again, I did get a job at a place called Camp Verde at that little bowling center. Uh, and I remember, going to an evening service where it was just worship, basically, some talking, but mostly worship. But before that, I asked my boss at the time that if I could stay at their hotel for $25 a night plus tax. And he gave me a call not soon after that. And to my amazement, he said, "Yes, you're allowed to." So I wasn't homeless. I basically fell dead on the concrete. I would imagine some people thought I just died, but I didn't. I was like relieved that I was able to stay somewhere. And that lasted for about 4 months. And then they upped the price, which I thought they were going to do sooner or later, and that was my fear. So now I'm asking around for places to live. So I talked to a lady that worked at the cleaning at the one of the ladies who cleaned the beds and the rooms at the Camp Verde, one of those hotels, and she gave me a bunch of addresses and phone numbers, and I thought I was going to be living in a homeless shelter for all I knew. Turns out there was a business home up there in Cottonwood for about $500 a night. Still working at Camp Verde, just a little further away, a lot further away than when I was living before. And I didn't have any transportation. So I had to ride the shuttles and uh, back and forth, and I needed rides home. And I did get that. And the house that I was living in was really not in the conditions, it was full of bugs, um, dingy house, living with people who were addicted to alcohol, and it just wasn't a fun. We had to call the ambulance one time. It just wasn't fun, but I had no choice. Um, you know, um, I remember, being rejected for any kind of help from the church. Um, that just left me devastated. Um, I can't remember everything. I can't tell you everything in one video because I want to keep it kind of short enough. Um, so I lived there. I lived in that house for probably 3 months, I want to say, and I still really didn't have anything. Um, but so soon after, so 2 or 3 months went by, and I got a call from my former manager, right, and he asked me if I wanted to work for him again in Prescott Valley, and that's where I wanted to be in the first place. That's where I, you know, wanted to be. So I started working with, I started living in a house, and that didn't quite work out. Uh, for me. So lo and behold, I got an RV. Somebody bought me an RV temporarily till I could find a permanent home. So I lived there for about $200 a month, and it wasn't soon after that there were some people that I was talking with in the church that I was telling my story every week, just trying to find some comfort, some kind of normalcy. That went on for about a year and a half, and and I was, basically desperate to live up here so I could, attend that particular church that I love so well, so I could enjoy the cool weather instead of living in Phoenix. That was a barn burner. Right, Denver? um, so, in that same couple who I was, you know, talking with every week, they, keep in mind I did get a credit card fraud too. So I had no credit. Before that, I had 800 credit. I never really had to use it, but I still had it. It was there, but now it's gone. And I think it was 2 weeks after I started living in Prescott Valley that that same couple took money out of their house to buy me a car. Now that was, not only was I amazed, I was stupefied. I was walking around that car with my jaw to the ground, and I just couldn't believe that they bought me a car. You know, it was just miraculous. I'm not I'm not going to go into all that detail about why they did it, but they did. So, so now, so the second thing what happened was, since I work in a bowling alley and they donate bowling balls, and so I pick up a ball. I'm a bowling, I bowl, and I pick up a ball that I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a good 7-pin spare ball, and so I'm bowling really good for about 2 months straight, or actually 3 months straight, in a bowling center. Well, there's a tournament that's advertised at the time at Antelope Lane. So one of the people that was working there, was working there, showed me a flyer, and so she sponsored me in a tournament that was in November of my birthday in 2023. And so I went up there. My GPS was dead. My phone was dead. I didn't know really where I was doing, where I was going, thinking I was going to be late. And I just had to stop several times and try to get my phone charged up. It just wouldn't work. I had to stand it up in a certain place. It's just really bad. I felt lost. And finally, I got there after some directions as I was getting really close. I got enough juice to where I could barely make it. It was an East Mesa Bowl. It's an independent house way out there in Phoenix, And I wound up qualifying, beating the board. I was first. And, so I won $100 in brackets. And the next day was kind of like the same thing. I got lost. My sense of direction is awful. But I finally did make it. I was just drained. I was just happy to be there, And so I'm there. So I qualify and win some extra money. And then the next round I qualify again, and then I qualify again. And then before I know it, I'm in the grand finals. And I wound up getting first place for $5,200, so the car equals more freedom, and now I can go places like bowling tournaments and potentially win some. So I got $5,200. Which paid for my credit cards and, which paid for the Cadillac converter that was not properly working right. And that cost a lot of money. So I had to eventually, I didn't do it right away, but eventually I got that paid off on my credit cards. And so I got that fixed. And, so now because I have the car, I needed a dog because I just needed someone to come home with, So when I had to pay my repairs for my car, I couldn't get a dog. She had to be quiet. She didn't have to bark, and you can see her. She's just laying there. That's how she always is. She's always excited when to see me, but it's not as much as it used to be, So I had that money in the bank for quite a long time. I had to let it go. I paid my bills, and about 2 months later, I got a dog, but before I got her, she was not in the kennel up here in Prescott Valley, and somebody showed me a picture of her, and I said, if she's still there, she's mine, basically, and about I want to say 2 weeks later, I go down to get a dog. Now I can afford it. Now I have credit, more credit. I got a dog, and she's like the perfect fit. Took a while for her to warm up to me, a long time, because I think she was abandoned a couple times, and she was unsure about me. But now she is. She's a good girl. Yep. Yeah, you are. Yes, you are. Hey, Denver. Hey. That's my dog. So I got a dog, and it wasn't soon after that I got a home, my own home. I came into a lot of money, and you know, and I had some help buying one of these manufacturing homes up here in Dewey, Arizona. And boy, just things just took off when I actually got kind of sort of settled in, or when I got settled into Prescott Valley. Things just took off. I only had like gift cards. I saved up points on my money apps for you know for food, because I didn't really have any money, so but looking back, I every little thing that somebody did for me helped me get to the places where I needed to be, one step at a time, a moment by moment, piece by piece, a little here, a little there. And it was like Jesus was waiting for me to actually be up here. And he was going before me. And if you ever heard the phrase fighting your battles, that's exactly what he was doing. That's why I'm here. I didn't think I was going to make it. I thought I was going to, go down under with no support, no one to guide me except Jesus, and he knows exactly what he's doing. The people that we are to meet, to help, the people that mostly his people that are his, that have compassion for people because they see value in people that no one else can see except God's people, and obviously Jesus, the one who died for. I know I need him. I know I need a savior. But things just took off, and that's in a nutshell how Jesus saved me. He surrounded me with people who support me, who help me. And now I'm back on my feet again after being scammed. I want to say a lot, let's just say a lot of money. And I'm so grateful. The more I come to know Jesus, the more I know deep down inside, he even though I really don't know when things come up what to do, he does. And his word, his promises are true. And he never lies, and he says what he says he's going to do. What he says about me and what he says about you are true. And, the more time you spend with him, the more time you realize this. And the more you expect him to come through, because you just expect him to. And he will. In time, he's not Superman. He's not gonna scoop you up, but he will guide you and hold you tight, and the sand in the footprint, the sand there's only two footprints, but that's because he's carrying you. But it's just what a ride. What a ride. And I didn't go into every detail. I was sleeping outside for a brief moment in time. A cop gave me something to eat. Just a whole bunch of things had to happen in order for him to really start working, But man, I would encourage you, if you're in a mess, if you're discouraged, the only answer is Jesus. Let him or let go and let him just surrender, surrender, surrender. And just let him. He will restore you. He will put you back on solid ground. He will wipe away all the, well, that's not till heaven, but he will calm your heart. Let him calm your heart. But focus on him, and he will restore everything that was stolen from you in time, probably more than what you had before. He has a good plan for me and you. And after he's, he who began a good work will finish it. But we have to live by faith and not by sight, and that's growing in his word. That's growing in your faith, how you see him as a father. As you get closer to him, he's always as close as he is ever going to be. He's closer than the air we breathe. And he will. That's what he does. Restoration. And everything that he does, even if it looks bad, it sprinkles with mercy. He sprinkles it with mercy, and it's don't ever give up on him, because the end result, it'll be worth it. And yeah, absolutely. And the best part is heaven. But that those who believe in Jesus will be covered by the blood of Jesus. It is finished. He'll never have to do it again. He's in the mighty right hand of God, interceding for his people. And this is the new covenant. So I just want to encourage you, whoever is out there, and this is a hurting world. I know people are hurting just like I was, and just like I sometimes still am. But let him comfort you and just surrender. And so today is September 29th. Signing off for now. And now I got to figure out how I'm going to post this on YouTube. So bear with me. I know I was going to, for a couple of people said, I said to a couple of people I was going to have it tomorrow. Or yesterday. But I just couldn't figure things out. And I think now I kind of have. So let's see how this turns out. Okay? If you're interested, you can subscribe. I will be making more videos as soon as I, figure out the twerks of this GoPro that I have now in the stand. And you can like. And more videos will be coming out. Different videos of, my dog, or just other things, bowling, just a variety of different videos. So, yeah. So for now, I'll be signing out, and I will see you guys. Let me know what kind of videos you'd like to see. I can do a whole bunch of videos now, so let me know. Okay, I will talk to you later. Be safe. Signing out. Bye-bye.